Let's just adjust this a bit. Yep, we're live now. I think we're live now. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to our weekly discussion dito sa ating channel. This is Jason Cappuccino, Sashes&Scripts, and today we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic. This is actually a topic that has been requested over the comment section in our previous live stream, and this was prompted by by the comparisons between two very major national pageants here in the country. And since paunakan ko yung nag-request about with regards to this topic, I wanted to make sure that if I am going to deal with something as huge as this, I'm going to do it with much research and with much information as much as possible. Kasi ayoko naman na maglalad ako ng isang topic without having a very thorough, investigation or a thorough understanding of that topic. Okay? So, before we start, magkamustahan muna tayo. Ping is here, the first one again to comment in our live stream. Ping, sabi niya, happy weekend everyone. Bigyan po natin ng like o thumbs up ang ating video. See you later and keep safe. So, thank you again very much, Ping, for always being the first one to, plug our live stream discussions. And I do hope na yung mga nandito ngayon would be able to, like our live stream, so that later on, kapag natapos na yung live stream natin, it will be pushed by the algorithm of YouTube for more views, to more subscribers and to more audiences. Okay? Pagpasensya nyo na, I was a little bit rattled earlier kasi ayaw mag-connect ng internet. I have seen some, some problems with internet connectivity this past few weeks na. This couple of 2 weeks. I noticed it mostly on my Wi-Fi device here at the house. So medyo I'm a little bit frustrated with the weak internet infrastructure that we have in the country. Kaya I'm thinking na baka kinakailangan ko na namang magpalit ng server ng internet provider. So I'm thinking that. Okay, so Rodvin Fiel is here. Sabi niya present. Hello and welcome, Rodvin. Daniel Piliuzon is saying, I am here. Sabi niya, Sir Jason, I'm feeling a Vanessa Mendoza moment with Chelsea Manalo. Sa akin, walang problema because I think Vanessa Mendoza is a very, very pretty na Miss Señorita Colombia. I'm not just very much convinced na dun sa placement niya dun sa Miss Universe was that in 2004 or 2003 ba yun? Where she didn't place. So, wag naman, okay lang na yung comparison is in terms of ganda nandun, pero wag naman yung ma-unplace tayo. Kasi, the pageant is supposed to be in Mexico, and again, Mexico has never been a kind host in terms of placement to us. So, sana naman comparisons lang sa ganda, I'm okay with that. Pero hindi naman yung tipong hindi naman yung tipong unplaced tayo na tulad ni Vanessa Mendoza during her time at Miss Universe. Sabi ni Ping, welcome. Okay, Roscoe Paesta is here. Welcome, Roscoe. Thank God naka-join ka sa ating live stream ngayon. Sabi niya, hi Sir Jason, it's been a long minute since I joined your live, but I am team replay last couple of lives. Well, it's fine, Roscoe. I think as long as you're here supporting us, walang problema. Kaya team live at team replay, it's all good. Family Reyes is here, sabi niya, good evening. Good evening, Family Reyes. I hope na dry ka ngayon. Dito naman sa amin sa banda dito sa Cubao, it's dry and hot. Junkie says, hi Sir Jason, try niyo po Starlink SIM. I will be looking for options. So thank you very much, Travel Junkie, because medyo naiirita na ako dito sa Smart PLDT na tawag nito na internet connectivity dito. And to think na ang lapit-lapit lang ng Smart sa Coliseum sa amin. So I would assume na maganda yung signal, because when I first moved in here, actually maganda mabilis yung signal. It's just so happened that over the last or the past siguro this past few months since this I think was it March or May of this year na napapansin ko na there are times na yung internet connectivity ng Wi-Fi router namin dito napuputol. May mga moments talaga na tipong 30 minutes walang Wi-Fi. So I'm thinking, maybe changing yung Wi-Fi provider, yung internet provider namin ngayon. Okay, Vanessa Dancel is here. Magandang gabi po, Sir Jason. What's your opinion in choosing a new queen for BBP and MUP? We will discuss that. That's one of them. 8 points. There are actually 8 points of comparison where I want na ilatag ko yung differences ng Miss Universe Philippines and ng Binibining Pilipinas. And one of those is the way that they chose yung mga winners nila. Okay, so definitely there is a difference in the way that is that is yung criteria of how they judge yung mga candidates, and definitely pag-uusapan natin yan, Vanessa. Okay, so, sabi ni Roscoe Paeste, Sir Jason, spill the tea on the research you did on these two organizations. Definitely. There are 8 points that we will be considering. The first is, of course, yung organization as a whole. We'll be looking at that. We are going to be talking about the leadership, the differences in leadership styles, and therefore, the differences in the way that they do business. We will be talking about, of course, yung reputation ng mga pageants na to, how different is Binibining Pilipinas in terms of their reputation and in terms of their brand awareness and their branding compared to MUPH. Then, on number 4, we will be discussing about the candidates and the type of budgets that they need to prepare for this respective na mga competitions. At number 5, we will be talking about the differences in the prize winnings of those two different pageant organizations or pageant systems, and yung duration ng competition. We will also be talking about the schedules and the finals venues of these pageants, as well as the differences in franchises, because this will definitely play into the personality of the branding of these two different na pageant organizations. So marami tayong itatouch on na mga points in terms of yung comparison natin dito sa dalawang pageants na to. So this is definitely something that I think for those who are new to pageantry needs to take into consideration in terms of understanding the differences of these two organizations, because there are a lot of newbie pageant na mga fans who's trying to push yung agenda, thinking that because Miss Universe is the system that they are pretty much aware of or pretty much used to in terms of yung kapanahunan that they were able to latch on into pageantry, they think that this is the only pageant system or pageant, what do you call this? Kind of pageant management that works. And we are going to dispel yung differences in that, kasi we will be showing you yung how vastly different yung personalities ng mga brands na ito in terms of the way that they carry out their different pageant systems. So things are going to be very interesting in terms of yung what do you call this, yung pag-uusapan natin, because there will be 8 major points that we are going to tackle as a point of comparison for the tawag ito, for the two pageant systems. Okay? Let's see, ano ba yung mga comments pa ba? Nasaan na ba? Wait lang. Let's check. Sabi ni Vanessa, no question asked po kapag may bagong nanalong queens ng BDP. Pero yung isang pageant system, no comment na lang. Okay. Kawa. Saldi says, Sir Jess, as per poster ng BBP, may telecast ang coronation ng Binibining Pilipinas. I think it will be live. Your thoughts? Yes, it will be. Okay, ganito kasi this is how Binibining Pilipinas does their, what do you call this? Does their finals na, tawag ito, finals na telecast. There will be a slight delay from the beginning of the pageant because there is a portion that is allotted for deliberation. It's usually the time where mga tapos na yung mga evening gown, yung swimsuit competition, yung mga awarding of special awards and sponsor awards. Then the judges would leave the judging table, go inside a deliberation room, talk about who is the best possible candidate for Globe and for international, then go back and then announce the winner. Yung time na yon, that is allotted maybe siguro mga 15 to like 30 minutes. Yun yung delay nung tawag ito, nung umpisa na sa umpisa ng telecast. So that by the time na aabot na doon sa announcement of the actual winners, it is a live announcement. So ano siya? It's how do you call this? It's a very synchronized na arrangement of the production with the slightly delayed telecast. But by the time na it's on the announcement part of the Binibining Pilipinas winners, it's already live. So that's that's the situation with the telecast ng Binibining Pilipinas. And with all due respect, as of now, I think only Binibining Pilipinas is the only national pageant here in the country that is aired live, that is aired in prime time telecast. Yung telecast ng Miss Philippines Earth and ng Miss Universe Philippines, especially this past couple of years, it's always been delayed, or it is telecast during a non-prime time slot. When I say prime time, this is usually around 8 in the evening until around 11 in the evening, and this is it is called prime time slot because yung oras na yon mataas yung binabayaran ng mga advertisers to air their commercials during that time, and dito kumikita yung how do you call this, yung mga networks dahil yung number of advertisers nila kahit na konti. But if they buy, let's say, the premium slots during the prime time for their commercials, ibig sabihin, they have to pay much more than they would pay, for example, versus a like 3 p.m. or 3 p.m., 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. na slot sa tawag ito sa telecast na oras. So yun yung kaibahan ng Binibining Pilipinas, that they are, how to say this, they are aired live at prime time. Okay? There's another question here from Papa Turon. Sabi niya, Hello sir, correct me if I'm wrong, pero parang now lang officially present si Sir Hines as BPCI Execom. Dati purely marketing head siya. Yes, we will be discussing the leadership a little bit later. Sir Hines has been in the pageant for like more than 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check with him on that. But I think in terms of longevity, I think definitely Sir Hines deserves a spot as one of the executive committee of Binibining Pilipinas nowadays. Okay, so I think i- that's more than enough na pasakalye sa kamustahan sa ating live stream. So let's start siguro yung ating main event, which is let's discuss the differences of these two organizations. So what prompted us to tackle this very serious na topic? Kasi there is this common misconception na these two pageants are fighting or are in direct competition with each other. Perhaps yes, if you're looking at it from the prestige point of view. However, looking at it from a different perspective, whether it's on a marketing perspective or a business perspective, you would see that there are differences between these two that makes them non-competitors. Because clearly, if you're going to look at it from a different perspective, from that perspective, there would be one that dominates over the other. Now, let's first review yung organizational structure ng Binibining Pilipinas versus Miss Universe Philippines. Now, MUPH has been existing for the past 5 years. It's not a long-established organization, but was established around 2019-2020 during that year. And it is a organization sa pageant that is supported by Mercator Talent Management Agency. Hence, if you look at yung kanilang mga pool of talents, pool of candidates at MUPH or the Miss Philippines na competition, there is always a Mercator talent involved there, or yung mga nananalo ng MUPH is absorbed by the Mercator talent na management agency. And this is the reason why you would see, whether it's in their male pageants, the Mr. World something, Mr. Worldwide Pilipinas or Mr. Worldwide Philippines. I'm not sure which is the right wording kasi there are legal battles on who owns actually the Mr. Philippines na tawag ito na copyright, who owns the copyright for that name. So I think that is the reason why it is Mr. Worldwide Philippines or Pilipinas. Kasi again, legal issues. So if you look at yung kanilang mga if you look at the organization itself, it is a very talent management driven na organization. Okay? If you look at it from that perspective. Now, Binibining Pilipinas, on the other hand, has 60 years this year in terms of its annual na pageant. However, the competition started in 1964, which is technically like 61 years na yung in existence yung pageant. However, because they skipped the 2020 edition because of the global pandemic, they are only celebrating their 60th anniversary edition of the pageant this year. Okay? It was established, as I said, in 1964, and it has been deemed as an institution in the world of Philippine pageantry. And what is unique about the Binibining Pilipinas organization is that it is a charity organization as compared to the for-profit organization that is Miss Universe Philippines. This also means that because BPCI or the Binibining Pilipinas Charities Incorporated is among the Araneta Group of Companies, the pageant, the Binibining Pilipinas pageant, is scaffolded by the businesses that is within the Araneta Group of Companies. And therefore, there is real estate, there are retail brands that supports the entire Binibining Pilipinas pageant. And you can see how different these two organizations are on that perspective alone. In terms of organization, the Miss Universe Philippines is a young and dynamic organization. And therefore, it's an organization that is full of new ideas. And it is, I believe, an organization that has a strong publicity drive. They have a strong network of sponsors, of connections, and they have a strong marketing na drive for publicity. And therefore, in terms of that aspect of of pageantry, it feels more modern. It feels more in the now. So I think in terms of yung newness and creativity, the organization of MUPH is a little bit ahead in terms of that aspect. However, because they have a fondness for X deals, these kinds of X deal arrangement kind of brings them some bit of trouble, which I'm sure you are aware of with the latest controversy that they're experiencing. In contrast to that, the Binibining Pilipinas pageant, or the BPCI organization, is a little bit more traditional and is more considered as a heritage brand. And if you are a heritage brand, this means that you have existed. So maybe you have a history of like 30 years, 40 years, or 50 years in your arsenal. A heritage brand is something that you really take care of in terms of your reputation. And therefore, in terms of yung decision making nila, they are more careful and a little bit more deliberate when making decisions. So hindi sila yung ura-uradang mag-change just for formality's sake. They need to be very careful and study if such changes are aligned with the brand vision or aligned with the core essence of the brand. So this is the reason why a lot of pageant fans are a little bit frustrated because of the slow progress they feel on the Binibining Pilipinas na pageant. This is something that they are unaware of in terms of managing the brand, because from a brand manager's perspective, you cannot just make some changes on a pageant or a brand without considering what will its long-term effect on the brand is going to be. It's like saying na Chanel will no longer have the boy bag or the Chanel 2.5 bag. They're no longer carrying that kind of merchandise. So it's essentially, removing, that core part of their DNA. If you remove that, it's essentially, it's also essentially saying that if you are the brand Dior, you're no longer gonna create a Le Bar suit version for your stores. And removing that is essentially removing a part of the soul of the brand itself. And this is the reason why a lot of fans feels like they are not part of the more traditional na pageant system like Binibining Pilipinas, and they feel that perhaps their loyalties are best served with MUPH, which is more dynamic and more young in terms of its outlook. However, this does not mean that the BPCI is averse to change. We've seen naman how they have spent more on the production values, on the cash winnings of their winners, and this is something that I think overall is going to be played over the discussion natin for this evening. Now, We've already discussed yung first point, which is the organization. So let's now talk about the leadership and the organizational structure of the MUPH and the BBP. When it comes to the MUPH, it functions pretty much like a for-profit business. So you have the CEO, you have the president, and then you have multiple directors under the what do you call this? Under the C-suite that they say. So you have the CEO, COO, and usually this is how the organizational structure works, which is pretty much similar to what Miss Universe used to have with a CEO, with a COO, and a president in the organizational structure. With the leadership, we have Jonas Gafford as the head, and then you have under him the Shamsi Supsup as the national director, who is basically the front face, the fronting face of the organization to the Miss Universe organization. And then we have other multiple na mga directors who are heads of certain departments. You have Mario Garcia for, I believe, the daily running of the organization. You have Nad Bronce for legal. You have Leah Ramos, I believe, for development, something. And then you have Voltaire for marketing and communications, and Sam Versosa for charity. So this kind of dynamics pretty much plays similar to a for-profit na organization. Which is vastly different from the Binibining Pilipinas Charities Incorporated, because it works more of as a charity organization. So the what do you call this? The organization is not very much like a pyramid, but a little bit more flatter than that. You have, of course, Irene Jose as the head of the entire, as the president of the Binibining Pilipinas organization, and the company that is what do you call this? That is affiliated in Binibining Pilipinas. So if MUPH has Empire, Binibining Pilipinas has Uniprom. So Irene Jose is both the head of BPCI and Uniprom. And then under her, you have the entire BPCI Executive Committee, which comprises of nowadays the ones that I know factually are Sir Raymond Villanueva, Vida Doria, who took over yung role na tawag ito na vacated by Abigail Arenas and Precious Lara Tigaman. So let me explain that point, okay? Kasi when Precious migrated with her family to Canada, so yung spot niya as an execcom na member is vacated. It was supposed to be Abby who will take over that vacated spot. However, I think due to conflicts with scheduling, conflicts with yung availability ni Abby to do all of yung mga necessary na mga tawag ito na mga work for BPCI, kasi hindi lang naman yung pageant yung involvement ng execom, but also the charity aspect. So because there is a conflict in the scheduling and in the timetables, the vacated na position is now offered to Vida Doria, which is Binibining Pilipinas universe back in the, I believe, in the 1970s or 1960s ba? I'm not sure ha. Let me double check. I think it's in the 1970s after Margie Moran. And then after it was this is actually was announced during the National Costume Show that Vida Doria is part of the Binibining Pilipinas Executive Committee. And then you have Ms. Biana Flores and Ms. Pia Ojeda, who are quite new in the organization. I think they just started sometime late last year or early this year. And then of course Sir Hines Enriquez, who has been in the organization for quite some time. Despite these what do you call this? Despite this na arrangement, there is still someone on top of the entire organization, and that is Sir Jorge Araneta alongside Madam S&A. Of course, because they are the owners of the entire Araneta Group of Companies, lahat ng mga tao under Binibining Pilipinas report directly to him. So, this is the reason why, in terms of leadership, there are differences in terms of how an organization is run. And this is the reason why in terms of yung leadership ng MUPH is quite vastly different from BBP, because with MUPH may kanya-kanyang toka sila kung saan yung trabaho nila, unlike in Binibining Pilipinas, where I think the way that they work together is a little bit more closer together, kasi it's a flatter organization in terms of yung kanilang hierarchy. Okay, now napag-usapan na rin lang yung mga reputation ng mga organizations na to. So let's take a quick discussion with regards to the reputations of these two organizations. So first and foremost, the Miss Universe brand, the entire brand itself, thrives on controversy. They thrive on being talked about, whether it's positive publicity or negative publicity. It's still publicity for them, and this is something that has been a personality ng brand since its Donald Trump na era. And we all know how Donald Trump would say something, would be very controversial, so that people will divert attention from him and into his businesses. That is the way that Donald Trump does his marketing for his brands. And I think this is something that has been played quite enough in the years after Donald Trump for the organization. They need publicity. They need social media buzz, and the idea that they are being talked about in order to move further yung kanilang mga agenda for their businesses. And I think this is something that MUPH has adapted. And as you all know, year in, year out, MUPH has very controversial na mga issues that has faced quite for its relatively short 5 years. I mean, I remember nung first year nila, nung they were supposed to go to, was it Pangasinan or Pampanga, one of the provinces, for I think a preliminary bout of their pre-pageant na activity, and then they were barred from entering that province because it was during the pandemic, and suddenly 3 busloads or 2 busloads of candidates didn't know where to go. So these are things that are quite not unique, but rather quite very MUPH in terms of yung paano sila nililigawan ng kontrobersiya. Another thing is there were rumors of fixing questions being leaked to a favored candidate. That's why candidate has won. There was even a controversy on how the pageant selected a group of judges that is favorable to one candidate. And then there was even a lot of talk about a candidate who was so confident about winning that nabanggit niya di umano, rumored has it that she mentioned something about they owe me big time. So these are things that has been a part of the Miss Universe Philippines brand, the idea that they need to be talked about to generate controversy, so that everything is going to be focusing on their pageant. And this is something that they have played quite well over the past several years as well, especially during the times where insiders, mga pageant insiders would know that, for example, Binibining Pilipinas would have their finals on third week, for example, of May, and then suddenly you would see before Binibining Pilipinas officially announces their finals, you would see suddenly that Miss Universe Philippines announces that they're going to have their finals at the second week of May. So these are things that has been, has been observed by pageant insiders over the past 3 years. And this time around, this year, thankfully, because Binibining Pilipinas has finally made the decision to have their finals at the month of July rather than compete with with MUPH, then suddenly you cannot have a MUPH that will have to crown several other queens in their umbrella of franchises, which we will be talking about later, too close to be crowned on the month of July, because there are queens that needs to be competing by the month of September, October, and November. So these are things that has been an issue, not necessarily an issue, but rather an observation by some pageant connoisseurs and insiders with regards to the very shady na scheduling ng kanilang mga finals over the past, I don't know, 3 years. So that is something that I think has helped grow or help the MUPH be at the center of attention among pageant fans. Now, in terms of Binibining Pilipinas, however, they are very controversy averse. And this is something that they would do to make sure that their reputation is intact. I remember that there was a move to dethrone a recent winner, maybe give or take mga around 6 or 7 years, and they were already having conversations with the legal of the BPCI to have this queen dethroned. And instead of pushing further for that, they allowed this queen first to resign her title herself before dethroning her. And I think that is, the kind of organization Binibining Pilipinas is, because they would allow you to save face and have a courtesy resignation rather than being fired. And if you look at the dethronements of the Binibining Pilipinas pageant, you would see that majority of the dethronements were due to passport issues, due to Filipino citizenship issues on the girls. And from then on, they have learned a valuable lesson, especially in the 90s, where I believe Anjanette Abayari was dethroned because of not having a Filipino passport. Tricia Silang and Janelle Bautista were all dethroned because of issues on citizenship and passport issues as well. So that Binibining Pilipinas, after all of these issues that happened in the 90s, they instituted the 6-month residency rule, as well as having a Filipino passport as part of the requirements of potential candidates. So in terms of yung reputation, MUPH thrives on controversy, while Binibining Pilipinas is a little bit controversy averse. Okay, so let's go over some questions and comments before we continue on the subsequent na mga points. Gary says, "Hi Jason, I'm curious if there is a corruption going on within the MUPH, or I am in no position to say there is or there isn't. I don't know the organization that well, how they are operating, but that is something I believe that needs to be observed before making such decisions or such accusations whether or not there is corruption within the organization. And even if there is a any issue within the organization, whether it's corruption within the organization or from outside the organization, it's their problem to deal with that. Daniel P. Yuzen says, speaking of taking care of reputation, I remember the years when BPCI would disqualify girls who got themselves involved in scandals. Yes. And this is also the reason why, very protective din sila sa mga girls nila na ayaw nilang mabahiran yung ibang mga candidates because of some other girls issues. Ping is asking, sa MUPH, nalilito ako sa role ni Shamsi. Ano ba talaga? So we all know that based on the partnership of Miss Universe with MUPH, the souvenir program of Miss Universe has already indicated that the company that owns the franchise here in the Philippines is Empire Holdings or Empire PH. So essentially, that is the company of Jonas Scaffold. And therefore, the role of a national director is that tauhan siya ng may-ari ng kumpanya. So that's how simple it is. It's essentially the employer and the employee, with Shamsi being the employee of the Empire Holdings na group. Okay? Tiger B 0719. Hi Sir Jason, how are the Singsons from the North affiliated with MUPH? Are they still the owner or part owner of MUPH? I have no idea at this point in time. But if they are still involved, then perhaps they shouldn't have any issues financially if that's the case na they are still involved. I don't know. It's easy to speculate at this point in time, but it's rather that it's rather safer that we associate them as separate entities at this point in time. Matagal nang sinabi ni Chavit Singson na wala na siyang wala na siyang involvement sa mga beauty pageants. So let's leave it at that. Okay, Saldi Salen says, Vida Doria is Binibining Pilipinas Universe 1971 and 1971 Miss Universe Miss Photogenic. Correct. Tama. Nauna siya kay, kay Margie Moran. Beyond the Scrubs says, nakaabot. Hello, Sir Jackson. Hello, Beyond the Scrubs. Welcome to the live stream. I don't think you missed that much. Medyo mahaba-haba din yung kamustahan sa umpisa ng live stream natin. Miko Amoite says, hello, Sir Je. Shout out from Riyadh. Hello. If you're in Riyadh, then that would mean that you are in the colder part of the year na. Tama ba? I do hope na it's colder now in your part of the world. CC is saying, I think nasa transition lang ang BBP with the changes na nangyayari, pero soon babalik ang sigla ng Binibining Pilipinas. Gary is saying, no prize money for MUPH winner? Question mark. Okay, sige. Let's jump into that. Kasi part of the topics that part of the points within this topic is yung candidates prizes and yung ano yung kinakailangan nilang paghandaan for these two respective na national pageants. Okay, so umpisahan natin with the prize winnings. Okay? To sweeten the pot. Okay. In terms of the prize winnings, the only time that the Miss Universe Philippines organization made it public, I believe, was during its first year, during the time of Radia. They mentioned about almost 1 million na cash prize, if I'm not mistaken, and a car as part of the prize winnings. However, in the subsequent years, I don't remember or I don't recall at this point na kung they were able to announce kung ano yung mapapanalunan ng mga winners nila. There wasn't any mention as well in their socials what are the prizes that the Miss Universe Philippines are going to receive. I'm hoping that with Chelsea's winning earlier this May, they will be able to publish yung ano yung mga mapapanalunan nila later on in their socials. I am not yet aware if they had because I don't think they are regularly publishing the prize winnings ever since even after after Rabia won in 2020. So maybe part of the confidentiality agreement nila kung ano yung prize winning ng Miss Universe Philippines, but I think it is safe to say that when you win MUPH, there should be a lot of doors opening for you. There would be a lot of opportunities that is open to you as a MUPH winner. Now, in terms of the cash winnings and the prize winnings of Binibining Pilipinas, that is a different story. We all know from the time of Venus Ra and backwards na around 120,000 pesos yung prize winnings ng nananalong Binibining Pilipinas mga queens. And it was last year that it was made public that Binibining Pilipinas has increased the prize winnings to 500,000 each for Binibining Pilipinas Globe and Binibining Pilipinas International. And then this year, they even ramped it up and announced during the during the press presentation that each of the runners-up will be receiving close to 500,000 pesos in terms of their cash prizes, 400,000 pesos to be exact. And for the main winners, the Binibining Pilipinas International and the Binibining Pilipinas Globe, they will be receiving 1 million each. I am not yet sure if aside from the cash prize winnings, meron pang additional na mga sponsor packages that they are gonna receive. I am assuming there is, okay? Because usually the cash prize winnings is separate from the sponsor-related na mga additional na mga papremyo. Okay? Because it was only mentioned during the during the press presentation about the cash prize. So that's clear. Now, of course, all of you are now gonna question kung will this cash prize winnings be enough to cover yung kanilang expenditure for the pageant. Now, dito tayo nagkakaroon ng malaking whiplash when it comes to the candidates' budgets. Because in terms of the budgets, I remember during earlier last month, I mentioned in our socials that there was someone who told us that in order for you to be able to mount a campaign for Miss Universe Philippines, you would have to budget at least 1.2 million pesos to around 1.5 million pesos because that is how much the expenditure that you are going to be expected to shell out. And this figure, they say, is inclusive of the 120K, the 300K, or the 500K na what do you call this, na franchise fee for the affiliate partners of the MUPH na tawag ito, na mga regional na mga partners. If that's the case, then I would assume na dapat sana equal compensation din yung ma-receive ng mga winners in terms of their cash prizes, because if a lot of the girls are going to what do you call this? A lot of the girls are going to spend millions in terms of their campaigns, then I would sure hope that their cash prizings would be on the same level of millions as well, so that it's commensurate in terms of what is the expenditure versus what is the prize winnings that they will be receiving. One thing that is unique, not necessarily unique, one thing that is vastly different from Binibining Pilipinas is that the candidates would have to pay for their own photo shoots and video shoots as publicity materials that they would have to that they would have to provide to the Miss Universe organization for social media posting, which is quite different from the Binibining Pilipinas, because Binibining Pilipinas would shoulder yung mga video shoots and yung mga photo shoots ng mga candidates nila. They have a dedicated team for the entire Binibining Pilipinas pageant, where the team would take on the creative challenge to do the swimsuit, the evening gown portraits, the headshot portraits, and etc., the national costume portraits. So that is, how different the organizations are. Because Binibining Pilipinas is a charity organization, majority of its decisions when it comes to these types of things is that they wouldn't want to have the candidates having to shoulder more of these expenditures, because they want that everyone in their candidates, in their pool of candidates, to have equal playing field in terms of quality videos and images. Unlike in MUPH, that if you have the resources, then you would have a good campaign. You would have, you will be able to hire, good photographers, videographers for the campaign materials that you're going to need. That is something that, in the case of Binibining Pilipinas, they're the ones who's going to spend, so that the candidates would not have to have headache and stress on this part of their campaigns. Ang kailangan lang ng mga Binibining Pilipinas girls is to essentially make sure that all of these campaign materials are shared in their respective feeds, so that more people will be able to more people will be able to use them in their socials. So I think in that end, may mga nakapagbulong sa amin that with Binibining Pilipinas, approximately you would need maybe a budget of around 500,000 to 1 million pesos in terms of your expenditure for the entire 3-month na competition. So medyo malaki-laking diferensya, medyo malayo yung agwat ng what Binibining Pilipinas candidates are allegedly spending on their Binibining Pilipinas campaigns versus the MUPH candidates, where if you have the resources, then you can mount a very successful campaign for yourself. Okay? Okay, so let's go back to the comment section, kasi ayokong matambakan ako ng mga comments ninyo. Saan na ba tayo nag-end? Sandali lang, ha? Okay, Christoph says, Stella doesn't listen to fans. Pahirapan din dati aminin. Again, stress on the word dati. Nowadays, the Binibining Pilipinas organization as a whole has a younger team that takes care of the production side, the styling side, the glam shots, the videography na side. So on that end, I think malaki yung improvement ng Binibining Pilipinas. Ben Sipe says, Sir Je, curious lang, if existing pa ang Cumbia boutique ni Madam Estela after 2015, hindi na. Okay? I don't see Cumbia anymore in anywhere in Gateway or anywhere in the Araneta City na vicinity. Black Spartan is asking, will MUPH survive the times? We surely hope so. With the current structure of Miss Universe, where every year you would have to bid and you would have to bid higher to acquire the franchise. Hindi madaling gastos yung kanilang hinaharap. And if the rumor that from 220,000 USD yung franchise nila, tapos umakyat after 1 year, and which is now closer to 400,000 USD yung franchise nila. If it keeps on multiplying exponentially that way, then kawawa yung empire if they are able to sustain such business na expenditure, because if you are a corporation and you're spending all of your budget on the franchise, that's kind of difficult to stay afloat and to keep the franchise longer. However, that is the scenario of Miss Universe, or of the Miss Universe pageant franchise across the globe. Hindi lang sa Pilipinas na may bidding war. Everyone across the world has to bid for their franchise, to win the franchise. And this is something that, for me, long term is not sustainable for the Miss Universe parent organization. Because there comes a point where franchise owners in different countries would value loyalty, especially if they are able to hold the franchise for a longer period of time. So, in terms of that aspect, we'll see if Empire will be able to sustain this for the next 10 or 20 years. Okay? Nasaan na ba tayo? Si Miko Almoite, sabi niya, start of the summer po. Talaga? Sa Riyadh? I thought na as you approach like the bare months, it starts to be colder in terms of yung temperature. But I do hope na hindi masyado mainit dyan, unlike here in the Philippines na para kaming ino-oven ng buhay dito sa Pilipinas. Then Durat says, tax-free po ba? I am not sure. Yung tawag ito, yung what do you call this? Yung arrangement on that. But I will certainly ask when may susunod na event. Okay, Gloria Diaz is saying, so it's cheaper for a girl to join Binibining Pilipinas? Of course, nang di hamak. I think in terms of the expenditure, because Binibining Pilipinas essentially pays for most of the release ng mga photographs, videos ng mga girls. The girls won't have to do their own recordings, do their own photo shoots for that. So pretty much, yes, it is much more expensive to join Miss Universe Philippines by quite a lot if we're going to base these numbers from MUPH na nasa 1.2 minimum versus Binibining Pilipinas na around 500k allegedly daw yung expenditure nila. And these are mga tawag ito, mga figures that some of the handlers and some of the pageant camps have confirmed to us. So these numbers now are not just rumors or just hinugot lang sa hangin, but rather it is confirmed by some of the insiders, pageant insiders, who preferred not to be named. Okay? Nasaan na ba tayo? June J says, pageant prestige in the end depends on the crowns a pageant gives. Perhaps. Because prestige sometimes is not necessarily just about a franchise. Sometimes it's about the brand itself. Travel Junkie is saying here, wondering how did Empire got the franchise ng MUO without Mr. Chavit? They got the franchise to earn money, not like PPCI. It's to promote Araneta and provide charity. I think isa din ito sa palya ni Paula Sugar. Start po ng summer sa UAE and Saudi at 45 to 53 degrees in July, August ang peak. Wow. I did not know that. I thought na by the time na pumasok na yung mga bare months, yun na yung mga colder na mga season. So, anyway, now, going back dun sa ating discussion, let's now talk about the last 1, 2, 3 points, which is the pageant duration, the venue, and the franchises of these two pageant systems. Okay, let's start with the pageant duration. Lately, this year, Miss Universe Philippines clocked in at around 4 months with multiple travels ng mga candidates as sponsored by the provincial governments of, I think it was Palawan, Mindoro, and Sultan Kudarat, as if my recollection is correct. And a certain degree sa Boracay with the Aqua Boracay na event. That is a vast contrast with the Binibining Pilipinas, who majority of their activities is on Araneta City over a spread of around 3 months. So, dun pa lang kita mo yung disparity nung dalawa in terms of the longevity of their pageant systems, as well as yung kanilang mga, what do you call this? As well as yung kanilang mga travels. Now, each of this arrangement has its pros and cons. Kasi with MUPH, it's good for traveling because the girls are experiencing, a lot of these different na mga provinces and what they have to offer. The local government is quite involved with the travels of these girls. So kung may aberya man, all of these are pretty much, sagot ng local government. Unlike with Binibining Pilipinas, that if they travel, they would have to make arrangements with the local governments first. And this is where it's kind of difficult for Binibining Pilipinas to go outside Araneta City. Like, for example, during the event ng Charity Day nila sa Araneta City, isa sa mga candidates doon sa Fiesta Carnival got a sprained ankle. And within minutes, immediately, may ambulansya nang naka-standby because everything is controlled by the Araneta Group of Companies, and they can immediately just request ambulance because there is a standby ambulance for the employees ng Araneta City. So, ganun siya kadali. Ganun kadali humingin ng mga medical na mga facilities because it's within their control. Unlike if pag lumabas sila ng Araneta City, they would have to make sure that the local government is involved with that. Kung ang local government ayaw maging involved, then it would be difficult for emergencies like this na kailangan nila ng mga ambulansya, ng immediate medical treatment dahil it's kind of difficult nga din naman na magdala ka ng sarili mong ambulansya wherever you're traveling. So I think that is the advantage with MUPH because they are able to tap local governments and have sponsored na mga visits to these provinces. Okay? Ang problema lang dito is baka mamaya masilip ng COA yung mga local provinces with regards to their expenditures. Bakit nag-balloon? So they need to be able to be mindful of the way that these provincial sponsors are spending taxpayer money. Now, in terms naman doon sa finals na venue, MUPH is essentially at the mercy of the MOA Arena's availability. they are renting yung tawag nito, yung availability ng space on dates that they want. So if in case that, for example, just what happened this year, that there is no weekend available for them, then they have no other choice but to do their finals on a weekday. And another thing with regards to that is, if it happens that, for example, the MOA Arena is booked for the entire, what do you call this, entire month, and MUPH wants to insist on having a weekend na venue, then they would have to contact other, theaters and arenas for their finals, and which allegedly happened earlier this year, when they say that some of the heads ng MUPH contacted and made arrangements with Araneta Coliseum if they have any available na weekend spots for them. And unfortunately, they are all fully booked as well. So hindi sila napagbigyan. They had to do a weekday na event for their finals. So this is in contrast with Araneta, with Binibining Pilipinas, who is, part of the entire Araneta Group of Companies, who is, as I said, the pageant is scaffolded by the Araneta business conglomerate. So it means that they are given, special treatment na kung kailangan nila ng weekend, then mayroong available na weekend silang ibibigay sa kanila for their events. However, because again, as I said, Araneta Coliseum is fully booked for the month of May and June, wala ring choice ang Binibining Pilipinas but to move yung kanilang finals to July, which I think is still fine in terms of their timetables, because their main winner is going to compete at Miss International in 2025, and usually the Miss Globe pageant is done during the months of October, November, or December. So there is enough time, there's ample preparation time for whoever wins the Binibining Pilipinas Globe title to prepare for her campaign later this year. So that is, I believe, the advantage of having your own venue. Essentially, if you are a company that holds real estate, holds retail brands and franchise retail brands on the food business, then you are in a better position, to to move around your schedule. And this is, I think, where there is a symbiotic relationship between the pageant and the Araneta Group of Companies, because people would come into the Araneta City whenever there is a Binibining Pilipinas na event, and a lot of the tenants are going to, pretty much get foot traffic because of these events. And I think that is where yung tawag ito, yung Binibining Pilipinas is a benefit for the tenants, because fans and family friends of the candidates would come into Araneta City and have drinks, have lunch, or they have to drink, they have to eat, they have to rest around. So it benefits the tenants of the malls that the girls have events in. Okay, let's jump in muna dun sa mga comments before we discuss the final point. Okay? Saan na ba tayo nag-end? Okay, so may comment dito si Clark Langilaw. Sabi niya, what are your thoughts about the Miss Charm considering they don't have exact coronation date? That's why other candidates were not able to continue. We'll discuss a little bit later on the franchises of those two different na mga pageants. Tiger B0719 says, it seems that Chavit has decided to let go of MUPH because it isn't a profitable business. Pwede din naman na tawag ito na he was just a supporter but not really a hands-on owner or hands-on financier ng pageant. So, Black Spartan says, can you confirm if merong mga international pageants na nililigawan ng BPCI para mag-franchise muli sa kanila? I don't want to say ng tuldok but this has been confirmed na tawag ito na mangyayari sooner or later, but there will be one franchise na babalik. Okay? Mario Dilag says, masaya yung mga girls sumali sa Miss World Philippines kasi madaming crowns unlike sa BBP. 2 crowns lang tapos yung isa title next year pa mag-compete kaya yung Binibining Pilipinas fans na boringan sa BBP. Talaga lang. Are you sure, Mario Dilag, that you've been a pageant fan for the longest time? Because from the looks of it, mas magarbo ang Binibining Pilipinas compared sa Miss World Philippines. And it's not just the number of franchises that would dictate, a local pageant's prestige, but also the visibility as well. From my standpoint, I believe that compared to MWP, Binibining Pilipinas winners have more visibility in terms of yung kanilang mga activities post winning, because up until now, Angelica Lopez, even Hannah Arnold, even Nicole Borromeo are still involved with a lot of Binibining Pilipinas events. And not only that, they are still being invited sa mga sa mga activities nila like the Santa Cruzan. And there are still, a lot of activities na hindi natin nakikita wherein Binibining Pilipinas supports the charity of choice of the winners. And this is something, na masasabi ko na hindi boring, because if I am looking at the 7-hour na pageant ng Miss World Philippines in the past versus the 2-hour, 3-hour pageant ng Binibining Pilipinas, I would rather spend my time with the 3-hour pageant that is brisk, fast-paced, rather than have like a 7-hour pageant wherein natutumba yung mga candidates sa stage because essentially they no longer have sugars in their bodies that would keep them upright. So paguraan naman ng candidates yon, safety din ng mga candidates na nalalaglag na lang sa stage. So I do hope na if you're going to base yung assessment mo with just having the number of crowns or titles, that is a quite shallow na tawag ito na parameter or barometer of prestige, which I will explain a little bit later when we talk about franchises. Tiger B0719 says, how much is the franchise fee for MWPH? Did its prestige decline during the years that it was no longer part of Binibining Pilipinas? Well, the problem with Miss World is that because of the postponements that it had post-pandemic na period, it has severely damaged the image of the brand. The mere fact that I think Gwen Forniol took maybe almost 2 years of wait before she was able to compete, then it kind of tells you about the longevity of Miss World. Kung wala silang mga sponsors na magi-sponsor ng international na pageant, then sa kangkungan din pala ang bagsak nila. And this now makes sense why a lot of the times, Miss World is being held in China because they're the ones, that's the country that's willing to spend year in, year out, to host the pageant. And they pretty much has, blanket na authority on how the entire pageant is being rolled out in terms of the finals night na format. Nasa na ba tayo? May question si Tiger B with regards to the franchise fee of MWPH. I think it is a lesser in terms of value, in terms of the numbers, because the franchise fee of Miss World Philippines, they say, is around the 5,000 to 10,000 or 15,000 na USD yung price range ng franchise ng Miss World na mga tawag ito na mga franchises per country. It depends on what do you call this? It depends on how big the country is in terms of pageantry. So yung mga bigger na mga pageants, bigger na mga countries na tawag ito na pageant countries would definitely pay a little bit higher than, let's say, a country from Africa or a country from what they call this from Europe na hindi ganun ka-invested when it comes to pageantry. Okay? Okay, yung second part ng question niya, did its prestige decline during the years it was no longer part of Binibining Pilipinas? I think its prestige declined after Cory Carino dropped the directorship of the pageant. Okay, the beauty critique is here. Sabi niya, good evening, Jason and friends. It's always nice and worthy listening to you. Very informative, very relaxing too. Happy Saturday and God bless to everyone. Well, same to you, the beauty critique. I do hope na it's going to be a easy peasy weekend for us, for all of us. Dan says, in fair sa BBP, nag-improve na sila sa lahat ng aspects. Hoping for a successful 60th finals night, panampal sa mga bashers. I agree because a lot of fans seem to forget that the first time that we saw an LED on the flooring of the stage of a pageant was not with Miss Universe Philippines, but rather it was in 2022. During the time ni Gabi, ni Gabi, ni Roberta Tamondong and Chelsea Fernandez when yung in their press presentation the LED sa floor nila would flash yung mga swimsuit portraits nila habang rumarampa sila. So I think a lot of fans forgot that. And Binibining Pilipinas also is the first pageant who created an augmented reality with their with their Binibining Pilipinas portrait exhibits back in 2022, and then they're the only remaining national pageant currently that has a finals live telecast on major national na mga television stations like GMA, A to Z, Kapamilya, the Metro Channel, and I think PTV5 is also included there. So medyo may cognitive dissonance din siguro yung mga non-supporters and haters ng Binibining Pilipinas because they don't see this. And pag nilatagan mo sila ng mga ganitong mga information, whether it's the 1 million na cash prize, whether it's the prestige and the glam of yung mga recent events nila, they always find something that is, against their current set of reality, that they are not able to recognize reality even with the face of so much evidence that is inundated in their feeds. So this kind of cognitive dissonance is something definitely na it's difficult for them to accept. So they accept alternative truths instead. Wow, may tanong dito si Black Spartan. Will Chelsea win? I am hoping at this point in time that kahit man lang may ipasok tayo sa top 10 with Miss Universe later this year, that would be more than enough for me. And anything further than that, higher than that, is a bonus point. Because as of now, what my mindset currently is at least we break the curse of the Mexico venue. Over the past 4 times that the Philippines competed at a Mexican venue, whether it's Acapulco, whether it's Mexico City, we never made the first cut. So, I am hoping that this time mabasag natin yung sumpa na yon. Kahit yun lang muna, and then let's worry about making top 5 when nakapasok na tayo sa top 10 or sa top 16 ng pageant. Sabi ni Travel Junkie, sorry Mario, I don't even know the winners of Miss World. May buzz lang sila ngayon because of Krishna. 8 hours na daw sila this year, sir. Wag naman. Kawawa naman yung mga girls. I mean, kung a lot of fans were like complaining about the Miss Universe Philippines that is like 5 hours long and 3 hours of that is commercials, how much more can pageant fans endure if it's an 8-hour, 7-hour, 6-hour na pageant? I think that's too much. And this is again why I appreciate the very brisk, fast-paced na Binibining Pilipinas pageant, because interspersed doon sa kanilang live na telecast are commercials. And yung mga commercials nila, hindi naman yung tipong ansakit-sakit na tawag nito na i-invest ang oras on. Because when you are at the venue, hindi mo halos mapansin na, oh my God, 3 hours mahigit na pala yung pageant. And I think, this is something na lahat tayo mas na-appreciate if the pageant is yung pacing is mabilis at hindi nagda-drag on. Okay? Dansam says, maraming nga franchise yung iba, ampaw na titles. Si Isabel De Leon ba na ilaban? Si Trisha Martinez? Si Shaila Rebortera, si Herlene, kita mo ba yung press presentation nila kanina plus Tita L's post kanina? I'm not yet aware with what's going on with the MWPH dahil I was busy doing the script for today's live stream. So, I'm gonna check that sa mamaya. Ribo Tobias says, hello po Sir Jason, yun po bang 1,400,000 na prizes sa BBP, nalaman lang ng candidates ng mismong press presentation kasi talagang shock mga binibini sa announcement. I think the insiders has an inkling. Kasi ako, nachichi ko na before, I think at around February pa or even earlier last year na there are 2 possible scenarios. It's either maging 1 million, there's a possibility na maging 1 million yung prizes nila or may pakotse ang Binibini for their 60th anniversary na show. The thing is, when it was announced on stage, I was scanning din kasi yung mga reactions ng mga girls and they were shocked as well nung nalaman nila na nasa 1 million yung cash prize na na mapapanood nila. So I think it was a genuine na reaction from them. Saldi Salen says, correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 Miss World competitions that were held in China were both won by the Chinese. They hosted more than 2 times. However, the 2 times that they won the title, they hosted the pageant as well. Okay? Ryan David, ang tanong na niya is, who are your hot picks for Binibining Pilipinas this year? Saka ko na muna i-reveal because right now I've already narrowed down my list into 12 ladies. So, starting June 23, on my here on my YouTube channel, I will be releasing shorts, YouTube shorts on all 12 candidates leading up until the finals night on July 7. So abangan niyo yan. Dan Sam says, comparing BBP with MWPH really? Ha 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 ha. Nakakatawa talaga. Okay, Lakaut Serong, nasa na ba? Lakaut Serong Colette, parang nararamdaman na awa si Mr. A. Alvin F. Basta business okay lang. At pagdating sa international pageant, ligwak na tayo. Maskang Empire Philippines, ganun din. Okay. Tiger B, 0719. Ganun pala, Sir Jason. TY po, I agree with the beauty critique. You bring the relevance in beauty pageantry, ang intelihente ng mga diskusyon at paliwanag niyo po. Okay. Sige, let's now talk about the franchises because let's be honest. Binibining Pilipinas has been criticized for having only 2 franchises. However, if you look at the 2 franchises that Binibining Pilipinas is currently holding, the pageant is able to elevate these 2 international franchises, MI and TMG, are given equal priority in terms of the prizes. And they are crowned during the finals night with their titles, with their crowns, with their sashes. This is vastly different from the been piggybacked into the Miss Universe Philippines na brand. I have already discussed, thoroughly in another live stream, I think 2 or 3 weeks prior about this issue with with Miss Universe Philippines and their minor titles piggybacking on the MUPH brand. And I just hope that you just go check it out later on when we're done with this live stream. And what I don't like about this piggybacking of these titles, the Miss Supranational, the Miss Eco International, the Miss Cosmos International, the Miss Asia Pacific International, and all of these other minor titles that the Empire PH has, they are not crowned with importance because they don't have an announced crowning during their pageants. It's always a afterthought for all of these minor titles. So how am I able to say that? When Pauline Amelings was crowned Miss Supranational Philippines, she was crowned when natapos nang i-crown si Michelle. And she was crowned backstage. Or a small portion of the stage away from the main spotlight. Then you had the Miss Philippines that happened where Alethea Ambrosia was crowned the Miss Philippines, but she was not crowned Miss Supranational Philippines on that night itself. It was only months later, earlier I think this January, that she was announced to be the representative of the Philippines in Miss Supranational this coming July in Poland. And then that's the same thing that happens with Tara Valencia when napalitan na yung mga nakoronahan na si Chelsea. That's when they announced that in a smaller area of the stage, doon pa lang kinrown with a different background sina Chelsea, sina Alexi, sina Atisa, sina Tara of their minor titles. So this is something that I think is a pretty much evidence itself that Empire and the Miss Philippines and the Miss Universe Philippines na mga pageants cannot elevate their minor titles, unlike Binibining Pilipinas. Because when Binibining Pilipinas was, holding the Miss Supranational franchise, ang nananalong Binibining Pilipinas Supranational is crowned all together with the Miss Universe Philippines, with the Binibining Pilipinas International, with the Binibining Pilipinas Globe, and Intercontinental na mga titles. And this is something that separates Binibining Pilipinas from the empire na group of pageants, whether it's MUPH, it's the Mr. Worldwide Philippines or Mr. Worldwide Pilipinas, and the Miss Philippines Fashion and Beauty Pageant. All of their titles, when it was still under Binibining Pilipinas, they have a coronation during the finals night that is telecast live on multiple na mga channels, and each of these girls, when they are crowned, have a moment with the outgoing winner of that title, which we don't see with MUPH na pinipigi back yung mga candidates nila for this other minor na mga titles. So, does that look to you as something that's prestigious? Because for me, I don't think so. It's not the number of franchises that you have, but what you do with those franchises, how you elevate these franchises, that makes a pageant prestigious. And now that I've looked over the Miss Universe Philippines na live na telecast on their YouTube channels, hanggang ngayon madilim pa din ang rehistro ng mga stage nila as compared to Binibining Pilipinas. Because if I look at the Binibining Pilipinas stage from last year versus the Miss Universe Philippines stage this year, di hamak na mas maganda ang pailaw sa Binibining Pilipinas. And that has something to do with the cavernous space ng MOA Arena. If you want to pailawan, you need to add more rigging doon sa MOA Arena to accommodate more lights. And that is something that you have to invest millions of pesos to do that. So for example, kung ang renta mo ng lighting is just for that night, for that event, if you want to add additional lights and install those riggings, the suppliers would probably need maybe 2 days, additional 3 days to set it up. And ang rentahan ng ilaw is from the time that they set it up. So that means that if they need an extra 2 days to set it up, then you're paying for the lights times 3 in terms of rental, which is not the case with Araneta Coliseum na kahit noon pa man maraming pailaw. And this is something that that was explained to us during the press presentation event, that the New Frontier Theater installed new camera riggings and light riggings in order to have the Binibining Pilipinas press presentation be more bright in terms of lighting. Kaya naman, if you're going to look at yung Binibining Pilipinas na press presentation and the National Costume Show, maliwanag yung ilaw kasi they installed additional lights. And when you install additional lights and you're just renting the space, then kinakailangan mo magbayad doon sa additional na installation dates. So this is why I would say that in terms of production, in terms of yung the ability to elevate the titles, Binibining Pilipinas is still a far competition ahead of Miss Universe Philippines. And I am saying this because I have been a pageant connoisseur. I have watched pageants from the time in the 1990s up until present. Nakita ko yung changes ng Miss Universe when it was still owned by Procter and Gamble, by the time that it was owned by Donald Trump, until it was owned by Kun-an now lately. And during that time, I've seen as well yung progression and yung improvement ng Binibining Pilipinas from the wooden stage in the 1990s to the LED backdrops, the 8-meter na backdrops ng na LED sa Binibining Pilipinas pageant last year, So, in terms of yung validity ng aking observation, sa validity ng tawag nito ng tinagal-tagal kong obserbasyon sa mga pageants, I think I am with the authority to say that when it comes to prestige, iba pa din ang Binibining Pilipinas because they are able to keep on moving up the bar that every other national pageants will have to meet up. And the mere fact that Binibining Pilipinas this year is really being aggressive in terms of promoting yung kanilang mga improvements in the pageant, whether it's, having a press presentation, having an evening gown presentation during the National Costume Show, it tells us of the fact that there is improvements at Binibining Pilipinas. Regardless kung mawalan sila ng mga sponsors, madagdagan sila ng sponsors, Binibining Pilipinas is still able to maintain, the quality that is expected of a national pageant because they are scaffolded by the Araneta Group of Companies. This is something that you cannot see with other pageant systems, much like in MWPH or MUPH. And this is something that is uniquely seen at Binibining Pilipinas, that every year they keep on amping up yung mga achievements nila in terms of yung stage design, in terms of lighting, in terms of music. The mere fact that SB19 is still involved with Binibining Pilipinas, they are still what do you call this? The Binibining Pilipinas and Araneta Group of Companies is still promoting mga P-pop acts, whether it's Bini, whether it's Fourth Impact, whether it's Alamat or SB19. It shows, it shows you pretty much yung capacity ng Binibining Pilipinas to keep on improving. Unlike, like for example, sabihin natin yung MUPH na in 2021 or in 2022, they made mga arrangements with BGYO, who currently has issues that I'm sure you're much more aware than I am, because ang mga estudyante ko lang ang nagsabi sa akin, ay sir, nakikinig kayo ng BGYO, may mga issue yan with regards to, mga harassment and everything. And it was like, okay, I'm not pretty much aware with what's going on at the K-pop scene, but it tells you na alagang-alaga yung image ng Binibining Pilipinas. So, I think in terms of, yung mga commentaries that they only have two franchises. So what if kung dalawa lang ang franchise nila? Kung yun yung may ipipintas sa pageant, sa Binibining Pilipinas pageant as a derogative point, then how come there's much more people clamoring for an additional title because nasasayangan sila dun sa quality ng candidates na sumasali sa Binibining Pilipinas? And from what I have seen, a lot of the people are saying that there's more buzz with MUPH simply because a lot of their pageant girls are crossover na pageant girls from Binibining Pilipinas na pageant system. And one thing that I also noticed when it comes to the treatment of Binibining Pilipinas with their past winners na sumasali sa MUPH is that once a Binibini, always a Binibini. They're always welcome to go back and participate at the Binibining Pilipinas na mga events. This is something that I don't think other pageant systems are able to do. Simply taking point, after Catriona passed her title as Miss World Philippines, we don't see her anymore associated with MWPH. And even when MU is no longer with Binibining Pilipinas, she's still, active with Binibining Pilipinas as well. And I know this is an internal na topic that should be kept within pageant media, but may mga pageant media na nagsusumbong din sa akin, nagkukwento din sa akin na if they criticize yung MUPH, they do it within out of the public eye. Yung hindi sila naririnig, or they confide on people like me na kayang magtago ng sikreto, kayang magtago ng mga sinasabi nila, because there are pageant media na ang tagal-tagal na nila sa sa industry, way before I even started vlogging, na sinasabi sa akin na I cannot say what I wanted to say about MUPH because I'm afraid that I might get uninvited in events, I might get banned, or worse, maetsyapwera ako doon sa listahan. And this is something na hindi lang isa, dalawa o tatlong pageant media ang nagkukwento sa akin. And this is also the reason why I believe Tita L is not keen on covering their pageants and be an accredited media partner, because mawawalan ka ng freedom to say what are your thoughts, what are your honest thoughts on the pageant. So this is very unlike with Binibining Pilipinas, that when I posted a critique on Binibining Pilipinas in the past, hindi naman ako na-disinvite rather sa mga events ng Binibining Pilipinas. So alam ko na hindi bengatibo, that BPCI is not vindictive. So unless siguro I created a big no-no, like for example posting the glam shots of the candidates even before Binibining Pilipinas have posted it on their own feeds, then that probably would be a major offense that would get me disinvited. But for me to critique them, give feedback when the feedback is warranted, that has never happened na they punish media people for having an opinion that is contrary to what they expect. So I think this is one of the things that is different from Binibining Pilipinas and other pageant systems. So I do hope na from the perspective of the pageant fans, ito yung mga hindi nyo nakikita o naririnig na kinukwento ko on a regular basis. Okay? So let's go sa mga comment section before we wrap this up, because just like yung previous natin na live stream, umabot tayo ng almost 2 hours. Okay? Ryan David, okay. The question of Ryan David is very interesting, because this is something that I am debating whether or not I'm going to create a content on. Kasi sabi niya, any hint, Sir Jason? Are you leaning towards mestiza or morena for this year's Binibining Pilipinas? So this is something that I have been debating over my head over the past couple of days. Kasi as I was trimming down the 40 candidates into a list of 16, a list of 10, a list of 12 came out. And as I was looking at it, napapansin ko na there are more mestizas in my list as compared to the morenas. And I was thinking that maybe this year might be the year for the mestiza. And this is not something, against the morenas, because I think the morenas really came in droves and really amped up the competition this year. Kahit na sabihin kong mas kokonte yung mga morena sa listahan ko this year, hindi ibig sabihin na collectively they are weak. In fact, some of the morenas are even stronger than some of the mestizas in my list. So in that sense, I'm still debating whether or not it's going to be a pro-mestiza or pro-morena again this year. I believe that it will all boil down to performance come finals night. However, right now, if it was my decision, I would probably send a mestiza this year so that there is variety doon sa pinapadala natin sa Miss International. And I would probably put in a morena at Miss Globe so that ma-break naman natin yung it's only white and pale-skinned ng mga Filipinas that wins Miss Globe for us because of course Cindy is on the more chinita mestiza na side. Of course Maureen is mestiza being half French half French American. So it is kind of not an obsession, but rather it's kind of interesting for me to see a Binibining Pilipinas globe that is mestiza, that's tall, mestiza, very Filipina in beauty, and she wins Miss Globe. What if that is the scenario this year na manalo tayo ng Miss Globe with a morena this time around? So, what are your thoughts on that? Okay, AJ Castillo is here. Sabi niya, hi Jason, I'm just curious po. What's going on between Jonas and Pia? Nag-unfollow sila sa IG. Okay, AJ, I have no idea that nag-unfollow sila sa isa't isa on IG. So, I am going to look at it muna, check it out, kung may maaalam yung mga amiga kong mga chismosa regarding that. But for now, I am unaware kasi I don't follow those two people on Instagram. Yari NCDB says, do you think Binibining Pilipinas org will give it to a morena since we do not know the fate of Angelica Lopez? She still has to compete this year in Japan. For me, I think ibigay muna natin sa isang mestiza this year, judging from the fact that last year, nung sinabi ng Miss International na walang Miss International prototype and then they crowned a Miss International prototype na doll-faced, mestiza, very Caucasian yung itsura. Parang feeling ko let's err muna on the what do you call this? On the safe side. Because if in case na morena ang manalo sa Miss International this year, then at least in terms of variety of the girls that we send to Miss International, we send someone who is different from Angelica naman. Para hindi naman year in, year out, magsasawa yung mga candidates ng, yung mga judges ng Miss International na it's the same type of beauty that we keep on sending. It might have worked in the 90s when we kept on sending, mga halfies like Susan Jane Ritter, Colette Centeno, Yeda Marie Mendoza Gitelsved. I'm not sure kung nabanggit ko ng tama, but she's a Romualdez now. So, Yeda Marie Mendoza Romualdez. Or, sino pa ba yung mga Binibining Pilipinas na halfies na pinadala natin? But what I'm saying is, it might have worked in the 90s na sunod-sunod na mga mestiza yung pinadala natin, but I am not sure if it will work this time around. Okay? Siyempre, maraming nagbago sa mundo. Inclusivity has something that was peddled and was made sure we're all aware of, from movies down to television, down to pageantry. So who knows that this might be the year where we might see, a Black African win Miss International, or a what do you call this? A Filipina Morena will win again Miss International. Kasi nangyari na yan with Melanie Marquez and Lara Kigaman in the past. So who knows, 'di ba, na baka yugyugin ni Angelica yung competition in Tokyo this year. Nasaan na ba tayo dito? Dansom. Okay, I think tapos na tayo din sa comment ni Yari. Sa comment ni Dansom, Sir Jess, natatawa pala ako sa mga ibang anes na kasamahan mo. Sabi two sides of this story, tapos yung sagot lang ng org ang pinost. Paano naging two sides? Ha ha ha, eme. Again, as I said, with Binibining Pilipinas, we don't have this kind of issue na if we post something na criticizing the pageant, babalikan kami. So we don't have that kind of fear with BBP. Cici says, in fairness naman, mas maganda ang finals ng BBP kaysa Miss Universe Philippines noong 2021, 2022, and 2023. Tignan natin this year. Okay, Rodvin Fiel, Sir Jason, clue naman kung ano yung babalik sa BBP. There are two franchise na tawag ito na lumulutang as chismis from my pageant media ng mga amigas, and yun yung dalawang franchise na nasa MUPH currently. Yun yung again chichi territory. This is chismis territory. Bahala kayo kung gusto nyong maniwala. Okay. Gloria Diaz, sabi niya, Bini was MUPH 2021 opening number. O, di ba? Again, as I said, Araneta City as a whole, as a conglomerate, is supporting Pinoy P-pop. That is why if you look at a lot of their New Frontier or Araneta Coliseum na mga events, they would always have concerts or meet and greets with fans, whether it's K-pop, P-pop. If you look at yung recent na Independence Day anniversary nung June 12, they invited, I think it was Pablo of SB19 to perform. Sabi ni Oliver Goyal, Ebriega, Sir Je, I agree with everything that you said. Love, 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 Binibining Pilipinas. Okay, thank you, Oliver. I think this is the first time that I've read you comment in my channel. So thank you very much for that. Sisi, bahala ka nang mag-speculate, okay, Sisi? Basta yun na yun. Nasaan na ba tayo? We have a comment or question from Nasegi Hugfai. No new theme song for BBP this year. I think they're still going to be using Win Your Heart. But who knows, since merong Martin Rivera na magpe-perform at the finals this year, we might hear the orchestral version of the Binibining Pilipinas theme song this time around. Kasi I remember Martin Rivera used to serenade the Binibining Pilipinas candidates using the orchestral arrangement during the 30th Tama ba? 30th anniversary of BBP or 40th anniversary of BBP. Nasa na ba tayo? Dansam, speaking of Itchapuera sa listahan, very Tita L while ago ang design. Okay, Ryan David says, agree Sir Jason, me too. I'm leaning towards mestiza in the likes of 34, 21, 10, and 26. But then again, Ryan, ang hirap din na i-dismiss yung mga mestizas like 11 and 40. Right now, Cara Villarosa, I think her number is 24 or 25, is growing on me. She was a revelation for me personally during the National Costume and Evening Gown presentation. So parang right now, medyo parang nagugulahan pa ako whether it might be a year of the mestiza this year or it might be a Morena domination again this year. Nasaan na? Si Den says, Binibini 40 for Miss Globe. Binibini 40 is Mirna Esguera. I'm not sure if you're aware, guys, that ever since the announcement of the candidates, official candidates, way back in February, sinubaybayan ko na si Mirna Esguera. And if she gets to Globe, I'm fine with that as long as 1 million pa din yung matatanggap niyang cash prize. But if she is sent to Miss International, mas matutuwa ako dahil who wouldn't want to have a Morena back-to-back at Binibining Pilipinas International, diba? Ryan David, sabi niya, for Globe, it can be 40 or 14. Nice choices and fair. Okay? Dansam says, kailan pala, Sir Jess, ang dating ng Reyna? Si Andrea Rubio sa Pilipinas. I am expecting either July na ang dating niya or end of June. Winston Francisco, pa-clue Sir Jason ng mag-over the back na French fries, basa ka na lang ng mga comments, okay? Nandun yung mga pinagkihinalaan. EF Chicago is saying, I hope CC is right. Sana, which is, echoed by Winston Francisco, sana tumpak si CC. Okay, CC says 50th si Martin, then who knows? CC, baka nga yung orchestral version yung kakantahin ni Martin, who knows, with Gary V sa finals ng Binibining Pilipinas this year. So Den is echoing na during Binibining Pilipinas gold si Martin Rivera. Okay, sabi ni EF Chicago, I remember Martin singing the Binibining Pilipinas theme song in 1983 yata. Or it was in 1993 as well. I am not quite sure because ang daming Martin Rivera not only hosted Binibining Pilipinas at some point but also performed at Binibining Pilipinas at some point that I get the dates, the years, mixed up. Sabi ni Dansam, Kara is 25. My God, kabisado ko na sila. Diba? Again, with Binibining Pilipinas, ang daming mga hidden gems that I've heard that Kara is also a good speaker. So I do hope na we had an opportunity to interview her sometime in the future. Okay? Topis World, sabi niya, ang top 4 niya is Pila Laguna, si Trisha Martinez, si Abra, which is Mirna Esguera, Binibini 40 for you guys. Kalayaan Laguna, which is, oh my God, sino ang Kalayaan Laguna? I kind of forgot who's Kalayaan Laguna. Was it Roella Frias? Roella Solis? Or no. Vian Sherin is Tarlac eh. Zambales is Talagin. Again, one of the prettiest faces. Si Tala, kapag na-master niya yung mga facial transitions niya later on, pasabog yan. She's going to kill in any international competition. Sabi ni Dansam, it's Monica Acuño. Monica, top 5 at national costume, great choice as well. Kalumpit si Vien. Okay. So, sino ang Tarlac? Tarlac is Kalamba si Vien. Tarlac then is Tarlac is I think si Vera Dickinson. Okay. My gosh. Mas kabisado ko ang face and name nila ngayon at this point in time rather than their sash and number. So, I'm sorry for that. So, tama, sabi ni Dansam, Vera is Tarlac. Sabi ni Ryan David, ang mga choices niya is Tarlac, Pampanga, Abra, and Calamba. So, again, good choices because Pampanga is Binibini 21, Jasmine Bungay, siya yung may pagka-Barbie shoe na very sanchay, na strongly, long straight hair, very strong na Asian features, very mestiza yung look niya, but very Pinay yung face. She kind of reminds me of like a mixture between Gilrea Quinzon, a prettier version, and Barbie shoe. Kapag pinag-mix mo yung DNA nila, I think you get Pampanga. Sabi ni Nasegi Hugify, 2022 is the best production of BBP ever for me. Sana same level for this year's 60th. Ayan. Okay, so guys, we've been talking for about almost 2 hours na din. I think almost 2 hours na din tayo nag-uusap. So let's wrap it up with the last comments before we end our live stream. Okay? Sabi ni Vili Gutierrez Mendoza, Sir Jason, what can you say about Binibining Kalumpit Bulacan? Kalumpit is, sino si Kalumpit? Wait lang. Honestly, hindi ko kabisado yung kanilang mga sashes. So, if Kalumpit Bulacan is Hindi, Roella Frias. So, Liz. Okay. Kalumpit, I think, needs to be more deliberate with her styling choices. Kasi si Roella, halos pareho ang mukha niya doon sa shape ng face ni Mutya Datul and yung facial features ni Meiji Cruz. So that is an advantage for her. However, the way that she is styled sometimes makes her look short. So kinakailangan emphasis on the waist. Kinakailangan very clearly demarcated yung waist area niya at walang cut doon sa may hip na area so that she doesn't look shorter. Kasi yung the evening gown that she wore, the silver one, has a cut near the hips na area. Nagmukha siyang miniskirt na dinugtungan ng tela sa may lower na hem. Kaya she looked shorter in her evening gown presentation dahil doon sa cut doon sa may hip na area, so which made her look shorter. I think mas maganda kung ang cut nung dugtungan nung seams ng tawag ito nung gown niya was at the natural waist para mas mamukhang mahaba yung legs niya, because the styling is crucial when it comes to your presentation on stage. Hindi porke matangkad ka, ibig sabihin na you can pull off everything. If you're not Amelia Vega na ganun katangkad at ganun ang katawan, always attempt to look longer on stage. So this means that the natural waist should be emphasized so that the legs looks longer that way. Okay? Sabi ni EF Chicago, sana Binibining Pilipinas won't let Abra get away and crown her. I think it's safe to say that Abra or Myrna is a shoe-in for the top 4 or even at the minimum top 10 of the competition. Sabi ni Dansam, ang akin is si Kalumpit, Abra, Tarlac, Lapu-Lapu, so close si Pila Bulacan, and Rizal. Great choices, by the way. Not a lot of fans are talking about Phoebe Godinez, but I do hope na mapansin ulit siya ng mga pageant fans. Because I think in terms of yung overall performance niya doon sa national costume show, she was just at the middle of the pack. For me, she stood out more during the press presentation. Sabi ni Cici, 2021 ang maganda ang flow at segments sa Binibining Pilipinas final. So I do hope that the Binibining Pilipinas this year lives up to the hype. EF Chicago, si Abra, she used to be independent but now she is under the Aces and Queens na camp. Okay? So, now let's wrap this all up. Okay? In terms of the differences between the two, ibang-iba yung layo ng agwat ng Binibining Pilipinas in terms of professionalism, in terms of making sure everything is done smoothly. Dahil when I was covering Binibining Pilipinas, I never felt that erratic yung kanilang flow ng the way that they deliver yung kanilang pageant. Unlike with MUPH, that I feel that from the feedback that I get from people within the pageant media, there is always something na feels out of place. So I do hope na in order for MUPH to improve, they are open to feedback at hindi yung mga taong nagbibigay sa kanilang feedback sila pa mismo yung natatakot na magbigay ng feedback because of possible repercussions, retaliation in terms of yung invitations to cover. So I do hope that moving forward, whether it's the way that pageants are carried here in the Philippines is done at a certain professional level. And I think the Binibining Pilipinas pageant, is a great pageant to emulate in terms of that. I know that it's a controversial na pagtapatin mo yung isang 5-year-old na pageant versus a 60-year-old na pageant. But when fans pit this two together, and say that Binibining Pilipinas is lesser because of the number of franchises or the kind of franchise that they have, you have to consider as well the level of how these pageants elevate their franchises. Because looking from that perspective, you would know that there are pageant franchises like Miss Supra, Miss Eco International, and Miss Cosmo na backstage crowning ang labas, hindi nakaka-elevate ng kahit anong pageant. So, before we criticize these pageant, I do hope na we do our investigations ourselves and be mindful of what are actually the achievements of these individual pageants before we compare them. And because it is a challenge from fans to do a content like this, inilatag ko lang kung ano yung mga observations, ano yung mga facts that we see with regards to Binibining Pilipinas versus Miss Universe Philippines. And to say that Binibining Pilipinas is still the most prestigious national competition here in the Philippines is severely an underrated na statement. Okay? So, thank you very much for everyone join sa ating live stream this evening. Before we end, I do hope na please do like and hit the thumbs up button for our live stream this evening so that when it's done, it is pushed for more audiences after it's published. Okay? Thank you very much for our dedicated na mga fans, mga loyal na mga supporters ng channel. Suddenly, we're now a little over 7,100 plus na mga subscribers dito sa ating channel. I love growing the channel with you and I do hope that you would stay tuned in our next na mga live stream. Okay? So, thank you very much. Have a great evening, everyone. And I do hope that you enjoy the remainder of your weekend. Bye, everyone, and see you in our next live stream.